Good night and welcome to Parts Talk. Again, we interview individuals who work directly in the automotive industry, as well as individuals who have extended experience working in the industry. We share their stories, we share their experiences, we share their know-how. And tonight's special guest is Asim Ramzan. Asim tonight is gonna share a little bit of his experiences with us and let us know exactly what type of industry it is. I know a lot of people still think that you just bring a car in, you bring a car out, and they don't know what actually takes place behind the background. But at the same time, now we have various individuals, and dealerships are located extensively across the world, right? Every country, every part of the world you go, you have someone trading a car, selling a car, servicing a car. They distribute parts, they align themselves with services and everything. But enough rambling. Let's get right into it. Asim, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, tonight again as we continue my series, Parts Talk. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit more of what you do, and where we can find you at the end of this video.
Okay, so my name is Asim. I've been in the automotive industry for about 6.5 to 7 years. Worked in a few different dealerships for a couple of different brands. My role consisted of a service advisor as a point of contact for a client between getting their vehicle serviced.
Mhm.
My work scope, it's consisted of the first point of contact with the client when they're bringing in their vehicle for service. So, from greeting the customer to engaging in a friendly conversation, building relationships, and guiding them into the right direction to make sure the vehicle is ready and equipped to be on the road.
Okay. So you worked in the capacity of a service writer, service advisor.
Yes.
Okay. And how has that been for you?
I mean, I came into the industry not knowing much at all about vehicles or the automotive industry. I had no interest in, to be honest. But I mean, as my time grew with these companies, I did learn a lot, and I'm actually grateful for that. I did learn a lot about the industry, about vehicles, about how to maintain a vehicle. So
Mhm.
I really educated myself and got educated through the career that I built with the automotive industry.
Okay. Nice to know because it's relatively easy once you understand that not only that you only put gas in your vehicle and and then drive. That's about it, right?
Okay.
Because a lot of people will tell you that's all they do. But at the same time, no. How did you learn? Who assisted you? How did you start?
Well, I mean, from the actual being trained by a service manager and other service advisor employees, I learned my way from them, the systems, the tools and resources they provided me through the internal universities and the little
Mhm.
training guides and whatnot. So I learned through that, and obviously hands on as well, seeing things in front of my face through technicians and the whole procedure and whatnot.
Okay. But before that, what was your specialty?
I actually came in the industry as a graduated student in law,
Okay.
and I had just graduated. I had tried a few career paths with that, and I just wanted to kind of have a change after 6 to 7 months of graduation, and
Yes.
I kind of tapped into a newer industry through a friend and tried it out, and just wanted to see how it was going to go. And then 6 to 7 years later, I guess it went pretty well for the
Yes.
most part.
For the most part, yes, it's
Yeah.
really exciting once you put your mind to it and you develop a passion for it.
Mhm.
It's exciting, very exciting to be amongst different people, different brands, different cars, see the different processes that takes place. But as we move forward now, what were some of the challenges you encountered while dealing with the industry? Just beginning, I know that you will encounter some challenges, and at the same time, now you will probably be frustrated with some of the processes, but 6, 7 years later, you're still here. But if you can just relate to us, what were some of the challenges?
Well, first of few challenges was I guess satisfying your management and your colleagues and whatnot, and meeting certain quotas, and still being
Right.
able to make sure your clientele is satisfied as well, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you want to stay true. I feel like I was maintaining my authenticity, and remaining true to myself and my clients. And I mean, it was challenging at times to maintain a certain quota and still keeping your bosses and clients happy at the same
Yes,
time, because
yes, yes.
you want to, yes, so you want to build that relationship where they trust you as a customer or client and with your vehicle. But if they're spending lots and thousands of dollars every time they come in, I mean,
Mhm.
they're not too happy with spending that much money, but at the same time, you want to keep your bosses happy by meeting the quota and collecting that money. Or
Yes, because the industry is very target oriented.
yes,
Everything is target oriented, which they use a lot of KPIs, right? Cost of units sold, cost of units service, all those different aspects goes into it at the same time. But how, I mean, it's been 6 to 7 years. That means you have probably seen a lot because the industry moves very fast. It's a very
hmm.
fast-paced industry. How has operations changed since you started out?
Well, I mean, operations, I feel like have changed in many ways. In the certain dealership that I started out at, the business model had evolved to a more quicker and more efficient way,
Hmm.
in terms of the what they were trying to implement. They were trying to implement a certain system to reduce time and make sure the customers or clients aren't waiting as long for their vehicle to be
Right,
serviced.
right,
Uh, I mean, what has also happened, they're embracing more responsibilities, like so I embrace, sorry, more responsibilities as an advisor. Maybe certain examples like checking the battery, the cabin filters, and kind of doing a little bit of a walk around more, that what the technician usually does in the beginning of the service, so save them time. So when
right.
they get the vehicle, they can start doing the service, like stuff like that. It's evolved. Technology's evolved on the vehicles and our
Yeah.
software that we use internally. So to kind of speed things up and, I mean, stay up with the evolution of technology.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because at the same time, they have to improve the processes at all times in order to improve service. Right? Service
Yeah,
delivery is one of the essential thing in the industry. At the same time, now you want to keep our customers happy. You have to keep them bringing their vehicle in, and you have to build that confidence for them coming back. As you
yeah,
know, a lot of customers they leave right after the warranty period is up. But if you build that trust and let them know that, hey, you after a certain particular period of time, after a certain mileage, you need to do this, 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 and this. At the same time, now how do you prevent that person from going to John Brown around the corner, right? And John
absolutely.
Brown may have a better credit facility available for that customer. So it's an ever changing time, right? But you mentioned you worked with a couple of brands. What were some of the brands that you're accustomed to?
Mostly for the longer part of my career with the automotive industry, I worked with Toyota.
Uh-huh.
I've moved around to a couple of Toyotas. I've worked at Mercedes for a little bit.
Okay.
And my last place where I worked at, before things went chaos in this world, was Hyundai.
Oh, Hyundai. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
very short tenure there because obviously of everything that's going on right now.
Yes, 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 yes. I can understand. I can understand. It's really challenging times right now, and they always say the toughest and the fittest will survive this
Yeah.
industry. But one of the things mentioning where we are now, because at the point of doing this interview, we're obviously experiencing COVID, right?
Yeah.
But what are some of the defensive mechanism that's your current that have been employed to keep the doors open, if you don't mind sharing them with us?
Yeah, I mean, I've developed a lot of relationships with clients, like building that trust and making sure they get their vehicle serviced at a, I mean, timely manner and at a cost efficient. Obviously, helping them out with things like warranty and what's on their ECP and what can get them covered instead of them spending so much money out of pocket. So, after given that said, given after all that, building all that trust, obviously word of mouth, they've told their families, friends. So I've built up a little clientele, and I
Right,
mean, as I move dealerships, I feel like I've created a following. They've come with me, to dealership so they can have my services and I can provide them with the services that they want to their satisfaction.
right, right, right. Because the trust is everything. Customer retention is everything, right?
Absolutely.
But the thing is, as we move forward, as you know, the competition is very high, right? In
Hmm.
everything, you have to keep the profits. You have to keep both our customers happy, our shareholders happy,
Yes.
and yourself you have to keep happy because I mean you have to keep yourself happy, you have to keep yourself motivated at all
Yeah.
times. But because I know at times it is very stressful. It's a very stressful environment for some, especially
Absolutely.
you running around, you're on your toes, you're on your feet 24/7, especially during the busy time. Here in our part of the world we have two seasons, right? Which is
Yeah.
summer
Time.
and winter tire season, because those are the two seasons that people normally bring the car in, change the tires out, check their oils, check their lubricants. They don't want the things to freeze over as it is. But one question I would like you to answer is, obviously you're enjoying yourself. After 7 years, you would have actually said, throw in the towel and walk away. But would you recommend this for someone who wants to walk into a dealership and say, hey, I want to try this? What's your recommendation to that person?
My recommendation would be if you have a long-term plan or a goal to reach the top, like I think your end goal would have to be a service manager at some point, right?
Right,
I
right,
mean, if you're looking for growth and evolving in this industry, you'd have to obviously evolve through the steps, and you want to go to the top. Because I feel like if you're going to stay in a certain role, um, I mean, I feel like there is a certain cap maybe of how far you can go. But if you want to achieve more, you'd have to obviously try to move to the top of the ladder by becoming, I mean, if you go from part service advisor to a parts guy, you have to know all the ins and outs, to a assistant manager to service manager. So I feel like if you want to start out with this industry and actually see results in terms of, I mean, if you want to feel financially strong, I feel like you'd have to move up for sure from just being a service advisor only and wanting to stay there. If you think long term.
right, right. But that's only in the scope of there's if there is upward movement within that dealership, because as you know,
Yeah.
some positions, the people never leave, right?
Yeah.
I
I
know
mean,
particularly in parts, people tend to stay in parts for a very long time.
yeah, I guess you hit a certain point where you get comfortable. But I mean, the job comes with a lot of stress. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of, you never, I've always said this to a couple of friends of mine that you never know. It's the type of job you never know what type of day you're gonna have. You never
Yes,
know if you're gonna go in and you're gonna have a great day, smiles everywhere, have great customers, and go home happy, or you can have a day where someone else is upset. Customer always wins. They're yelling at you. Where's my car? What's this? What's that? And they take it out on you. That really changes it impacts your day for sure,
yes,
right? So you never
definitely.
know what type of day you're gonna have. You can have a crazy day, or you can have a light day, smooth day, but you never know. That's the unknown is that's the only frustration sometimes, actually.
Yeah, yeah, understandable. We all go through it, and it comes with the territory.
Absolutely.
So persons have to be widely aware that once you're going into a retail situation like that, and it also depends on the brand, because as you know, a Mercedes customer is different from a Toyota customer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And a Toyota customer is different from a BMW customer. The BMW customer is different from someone who deals with Lamborghinis, and the list goes on, right?
Absolutely.
So it comes with the mindset. It comes with how your interpersonal skills, and how you are trained to interact with these persons. But speaking of training, are there any recommended training for service advisors once you get into the company? What are some of the training that are issued?
That they provide. I mean, there's a lot of universities that I've done internally. They give you courses. I mean, it's free courses, but it's
Yeah.
just like certain just slides and stuff like that, and then with followed by quizzes to kind of test you, little certifications, and they give you all that. But I mean, aside from that, it's just hands-on training as you learn from the peers next to you, and just what they provide you in terms of training is just those universities internally. To be honest, that's all I've ever done.
Okay, okay. That's fair enough, because the when I was in a particular position, there was also the scope of a competency profile that one has to fit in order to maintain that job. What they call it was a job fit personality. So there as you mentioned, there are certain courses that you have to undertake in order to in order to maintain that position. But at the same time, now there are different attributes that you have to do in order to improve. As you know, they call it self development, but self development also occurs within the workplace itself to get you to a
Absolutely.
point of professionalism. So once you start interacting with that customer, it comes across as being professional at all times. A lot of people will have to learn how to code switch. You will be standing amongst your peers, you're acting a certain way, but once you go to the customer, I mean, you have to change it up. You
You
have
got
to
to put on that face, the customer
exactly.
service face, for
Customer
sure.
service space, exactly what it is. So professionalism is done at all times. But do we think is that a requirement coming into the job, or is it something that persons will have to work on a daily basis?